Greetings, fellow Thulians. Today we're going to continue talking about the combat rules. On page 60 in the basic rules, you find a combat quick reference sheet where you have all the information you need to run combat. And I put it here because it is right next to the rules for fumbling and combat modifications and all these tiny rules that you might want to look up every now and then. Fighting in confined space and aerial combat and elimination, special actions and so forth. We are going to look a little bit at fumbles, and there are two ways you can handle fumbling. When you cast a natural 1 in combat, or instead 1-2, if using a flail, a war flail, a sling or a staff sling, or if you're dual wielding, I may add, the fast and easy way is to simply state that the attack missed, and that any further planned actions that round, like a second attack, will be cancelled. The slower but more realistic way for expert players is to ask for a d20 roll and then check the result against a fumbling table. And you adjust the result if your character's attack rate is better than normal, and this means that the good fighters are less likely to fumble. The results vary a little bit depending on the type of weapon you use, and the results you can achieve is most of the time simply that you miss, and that if multiple attacks were planned that round, he must abstain from further attacks. And you test dexterity to avoid falling, so you lose your balance. And this of course can be dramatic if you're fighting on a narrow ledge, on a cliff or something like that. But most of the time it's not very dramatic. You can fall and you can get up again. Other results including you drop your weapon, you break your weapon, you accidentally might hit yourself, or you might accidentally hit some unintended target. Or if you are an animal, that's in the brackets here, or if you're using a natural weapon, like if you're fighting with your fists, you can hurt yourself. Which of course means that if you are fumbling whilst unarmed, you hit, for example, the helmet or the edge of the opponent's shield or something like that. You have rules for wrestling, and here we arrive at the combat modifications. And the first modification we're going to look at are conditions. And here you see how the different conditions that you can suffer from influences your ability to fight. When it says no dex, it means that you are not allowed to add your dexterity bonus to your defensive value in these situations. Then you have modifications for stance and movement. For example, if you're climbing or behind cover, if you're prone, riding, standing up from prone position, sit, swim, if you're attacked from the flanks, from the front or from the rear. Missile attack modifications. Carry out a missile attack when in melee, load a crossbow or spear sling, or aim your weapon for 1 round. And then you have the missile modifications based on range. In ReconQuest you can also charge if you are a dwarf, elf, halfling or warrior, or a non-human creature. They have special training and you can perform a charge, which means that you gain a little bit offensive bonus and damage bonus and become a little bit easier to hit as well. You can perform some tactical maneuvers. Instead of just moving half your movement rate and then attack, you can perform a tactical advance or a tactical retreat or a tactical sideways move. And a tactical advance is the same as offensive fighting, but it includes an initial movement up to 15 feet forward. So you can use this to push your foe back, the guy you're fighting with, you can push him back. And in certain situations this is can be very useful. For example, you can push your opponent off a cliff or off a rooftop, something like that. Yesterday I talked about weapons and their reach, and the reach is all well and good until you are fighting in confined space, where you will be penalized if you're using a weapon with long or very long or indeed extremely long reach, because it's very hard to maneuver such large weapons in confined space. You have a little piece here about aerial combat. Illumination might influence the combat results, and then you have special actions. And this includes, you can cast a spell. How does this influence your ability to defend yourself in melee? You can draw a weapon from a backpack, a sack, or from your back, or put on a helmet. You have rules for that here. Or you can draw a weapon from the belt / scabbard. Or you can pick up an object from the ground instead of performing an attack. And here is where you understand why warriors will wear a backup weapon. Because if you have to draw your weapon in the same round as you attack, you suffer a -3 adjustment to your offensive and defensive value. However, if you carry a weapon that is short, has short reach, it is less penalized when you do this. And that is basically all there is to say about combat in ReconQuest, the basic rules. In the expert rules there will be more. You will have naval combat, and you will have rules for sieges. But the basic rules, this is it. So thank you for watching, and I hope to see you tomorrow. Bye bye.